Welcome to Widowed Too Soon, where real-life widows and widowers come together to share their stories of survival, faith, and the journey of finding hope in the darkest of times. Whether you're newly widowed or have been on this journey for some time, each week we're here to provide you with inspiration, practical advice, and the reassurance that you are not alone. You were made to not only survive, but thrive. And now here's your host, a woman who has walked this path herself, who finds solace in writing, joy in speaking, and freedom in dancing like nobody's watching. Michelle Bader Ebersole.
Welcome to Widow Too Soon. This is Michelle Bader Ebersole. I'm coming back with another solo episode. I didn't get another interview put together in time, but I have a lot of people lined up coming up soon. So we'll be back to our interviews. So I've been thinking and praying about what do I want to share? I mean, I've been doing this for 4 years. Well, I think 186 episodes or something. Like, what is there possibly left to share without interviewing something? But I came up with a topic, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But first, while I have the chance, because when I have guests, I don't do this. And, you know, if you are a longtime listener, you know that Mark and I used to always spend the first 10 to 15 minutes talking about what's going on in our lives. And I don't get to do that anymore with the interviews. So I thought today I would catch you up a little bit. And I did get to do this last week. So there won't be as much to catch you up with. This podcast episode is a little bit late. I usually get it out at 2 a.m. Eastern on every Tuesday morning, 5 a.m. Pacific, but I've been playing catch up since I've been traveling so much. So it's just going out on Tuesday, whatever time I get done with this. So I just got back from Charlotte, North Carolina. That place is humid. Okay. I'm from Washington State, and 100 degrees there and 100 degrees here. First of all, we don't do that very much, but when we do, it feels much different. Like my friend Patty and I, we went together, and every time we'd go outside, I'm like, I feel like I'm in an oven. So if you're from out there, whew, good job, because it's really hot. Like, we wanted to go take a walk. We're like, we need to get outside, like during one of the sessions, because we were at a conference, and this girl's like, good luck in the North Carolina heat. We're like, what? Like, we just want to take a walk. Oh yeah. I was like, you're right. I came back all sweaty. It was like 2 or 3 p.m. Anyways, I went to a conference. It's my favorite conference in the entire world. And you know, this podcast actually might not be here if I hadn't gone to that conference in 2019. It's called She Speaks. It's a writers conference for Christian writers, speakers, podcasters, people in ministry, basically anybody who have a message. And I went the first time in 2019. My mom went with me. Like, she didn't go to the sessions, but she just went to hang out with me when I wasn't in session, so I wouldn't have to travel alone. Luke was sick at this time, but I really, really felt like I wanted to go. And in fact, they were so generous. I told them my whole story. They didn't charge me to be part of the conference, which is a beautiful thing, because like I said, this podcast might not even be here if I didn't go. And at that time in my life, I did not have money to do all the things. And I went to a couple sessions about podcasting, and I was very intrigued. And I went home from that in 2019, and I started a podcast. So these podcasts I'm going to mention to you, they're actually still all out there, but it was so long ago. I don't know what I sounded like. I started a podcast called The Peace Cast, and it was where I would interview people who'd been through hard things. And so I have some of my good friends on there talking about different things they'd been through. And then it kind of morphed when Luke got really sick. I started using it as a way just to update my friends and family on what had been going on with Luke. I even did a podcast, and I've replayed it here once. A couple, I think it's like 10 days after he died. I cried through the entire podcast. But you can go back and look these up if you're interested in my, evolution of being a podcaster. I just used my phone, I think. I didn't have a microphone. I didn't know what I was doing. But that became an outlet for me to share about Luke's journey. And then after he died in 2020, I started my very first, second podcast, my first podcast for widows, and it was called Widow Goals. It's still out there. I don't know why I thought it was cool to have like a cover of a girl like punching something. It was actually called #Widow Goals. And that's actually where I got the name for my nonprofit, my book, like all the things I do originated with that podcast. Because I was like, widows need goals. Because I was seeing like hashtag whatever goals. I can't think of any right now. Like, fashion goals and like blah, blah goals. And I'm like, no, we need widow goals. And so that started, I only did 10 episodes. But I know some of you, shout out to Angela Heights, that's how you found me, because Angela said she was searching for widows get out of bed. And I have one called Get Out of Bed. And those goals that I talk about in that podcast, actually, a lot of them ended up in my book, that just released. And after that, so I had done 10 episodes on my own. I was just kind of like, I don't know. And that's when Mark and I started Widow Too Soon. If you're a longtime listener, he was my co-host for 3 years. And so that's kind of the evolution of how I got to where I'm at. And if I wouldn't have gone to She Speaks 2019, I don't think this podcast would exist. And so I love it so much. So this year, you can do like things that are specifically for writers, speakers, podcasters. I went for the speaking part of it because I feel like I've kind of got the writing thing down. I've got the podcasting thing down, and I feel like I'm a great speaker, but I wanted to learn more about like the business of speaking and how to get in front of more people. And one of the things, I got to go to a mentor appointment and ask questions. She said that I need to be talking about it on every single podcast. So here I am. I would love to come to your church. Okay. I don't just talk to widows. I mean, that is my number one thing I'm passionate about, but I do things for, I just did a church Bible study, a women's Bible study. And I just told my story and talked about perseverance and getting through the hard things. I went to a women's tea in Idaho, and I talked about hope through the sorrow, or joy through the sorrow. And so I can speak on topics like that. So if you would like your church to come, please email me, michelle@widowgoals.org. Also, there is a link that you can go to. I'm going to put a contact form soon on my speaking stuff. So, little plug for that, because she told me to talk about it on every single podcast episode. And I was like, oh, great idea. Because she's like, your audience, probably they have churches, and maybe their church wants you to come. So I would love to do that. Wouldn't it be amazing to get to meet you guys in person? And speaking of that, some of you may have noticed I talked about last episode, and in my Facebook groups, both the Widow Too Soon community and Widow Too Soon podcast community, I put a poll out there. How many would be interested in going to a faith-based retreat? And I think between the two groups, I got like 100 yeses. That's enough for me to know this is what people want. Plus, I know a lot of other people that didn't even respond that would be wanting to come. So I am considering, and thank you. I had a few of you reach out to me and tell me, yes, you would be interested. And a few of you gave me ideas of places to go. I'm going to ask that again, that if you have an idea of like a retreat center or any ideas or connections, or, people that plan retreats, let me know, because here's the deal. I'm really good at the big picture. Like, yeah, I want to have a retreat. I'm really awful at the little details. I'm just going to be honest. And when I was at She Speaks, I just kept picturing. So it was like 600 women. And we were like in a big hotel room, for the sessions. And we were all at tables, and there was worship, and it was beautiful. I was like, this is what I want to do for widows. Like, I don't know I think it was God, like, okay, giving me this vision, keeps confirming, like, I think you should go down this path. And so I'm thinking of not just like a retreat, like a little thing, because retreats are really good at like 12-ish people, 12 to 20 people, 12 to 30 maybe. But for like a conference where it's a different kind of thing, here's kind of what I'm envisioning. We pick a city and we go there, and everyone, maybe I could get like a discount, like a block rate. Everybody gets their own hotel room. And I'm sorry, this is just for the women, because I'm just dealing with women right now within my conferences. So men, just tune out for a second or fast forward. And then we have our big sessions together. We have worship team there. I'm picturing around, I don't think we're to 600 yet. I'm picturing like 100, right? And then we have the little rooms where we have breakout sessions like they did at this conference, but they're for like 0 to 6 months widowed, 6 months to a year to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, something like that, where, we're in different places. And then specific topics like solo parenting that not everyone's going to want to go to, dating again that not everyone's going to go to, like where we can specifically do, I don't know. If you have any thoughts on this, please email me, michelle@widowgoals.org, and tell me your thoughts, because I'm open for literally whatever God has. And I don't know what that is. And honestly, it scares me because I don't know how to do the details. And I feel like it's getting stronger all the time that I feel like I'm supposed to do this, but I don't know how. So there's that. But anyways, the conference, amazing. Right away, if you are in this widow world, you might know who I'm talking about. Patty and I met Lisa Apollo in the elevator. I thought it was Apollo, but she corrected me. She is, she's written a really great book. I can't remember the name of it right at the second. Life is hard. I'm gonna look it up here in a second. And she is a widow and has a great story. And we connected, and I'm hoping to have her on soon as a podcast guest. I also connected with three other widows. Yeah. So I met 4 widows there, and then there's me and Patty, so 6 of us. I put out a post on our page about the group, about She Speaks. I said, hey, I have a copy of my new book, Widow Goals. If you're widowed, please respond to this. And I met up with several people, and we ended up all going to dinner the last night, and it was really special. And you guys know this if you've been in the company of any other widows. When you meet, you just get it. And so that was like one of my highlights, was meeting these other widows, and then we went to this dinner on this rooftop in Charlotte, and it was really hot, but it was beautiful. And it was just such a meaningful way to end the conference. I feel like what I'm walking away with is a bigger vision for my ministry. And then one of the things that they talked about in one of the sessions was, if you're speaking, you need to be praying all the time about where you're speaking, and you need to have a prayer team. If you would like to be on my prayer team, and I'll keep you updated with what's happening, like for my whole ministry, please email me, Michelle@widowgoals.org. I'm just going to keep saying that again. Like all these things, just email me and just put in the title prayer team. I'm trying to put that together if anybody wants to be part of that. I was like, okay. And I'm just walking away with this vision of like, okay, I want to keep building this widow ministry. I know it's affected so many lives. Thank you. I just want to take a second and thank all of you who have personally reached out to me. If I have not responded, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's an overwhelming amount, but I want to tell you how much that means to me, because I am a one-woman show now, and doing all this by myself, and just sitting here at my desk in my house talking to myself. But I know it goes out to you guys. It means so much to me when you tell me this is how it helped me. I'm so glad I found you, etc., etc., etc. So the conference really just kind of enlarged my vision. I loved Lisa TeKirst. She's written so many good books. One of my favorites is It's Not Supposed to Be This Way. And I feel like obviously we can all relate to that, being widowed. I highly recommend that book if you haven't read it, because it's not supposed to be this way. This is not the way that our lives we thought they were going to turn out. And I can so relate to that book in so many ways. I've been to so many conferences in my life. Now, granted, most of them were like network marketing conferences back when I was doing a lot of that. And I've been to some other writers' conferences and things like that, but this one is 1,000,000% my favorite conference, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I think it's because we're all equals. Like, I don't know, sometimes at like network marketing conferences that I've been to, you get all your badges, and those who've done these great things have like a whole string of badges, and then you've only got one, and you feel like you're inferior, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, that's how I feel. So to go in where even the speakers, everybody's like equal, all talking to each other, like that just meant the world to me. That I hate going into places where I feel like I'm a loser. What am I doing here? And I know some people, they talked about that. Some people might have that coming into a writer's conference if they haven't written a book. But all the people are so welcoming. So many people came by themselves, but made a lot of friends. And I came with my good friend Patty, who's also widowed. And we had a great time, and we met so many people. I learned so much from just being with her. She literally asks every person she meets. I'm talking about our shuttle drivers, the person in front of us at line, the person serving us food. Every time she asks, "What's your name?" And she said, I do it because they need to feel like they're seen. And I was like, that is beautiful. But she really helped me meet a lot of people because she's so friendly. Sometimes I can be in my zone where I'm like, I don't really feel like talking to anybody. Am I the only one? But she really helped me with that. So I met so many people. It's hard to put it into words what those few days were like. But I'm like, I'm so excited to go back. So that's a little bit about the conference and some things going on. A couple other things. I got to be on my first radio interview. So when my book came out, Widow Goals, I contacted every local radio station, news station, everybody, and did like a press release. And they were the only ones that responded to me and said, we would love to have you on this show called The Women's Mosaic. And it's for people, women who've done something impactful. Usually they're in the community, sometimes they're not. And so yesterday it was like podcasting, but like different. It was more like high tech. And there's somebody that does all the editing and all the things. And it's these two wonderful women who were going to start a podcast, but pitched their idea to a radio station and they said yes. And so they go record at the radio station. So it was pretty cool. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I feel like I was able to, it's not a Christian based radio show. So I had to be a little bit different than I am on here, like a little more guarded, but I feel like I was still able to talk about my faith and still able to just share why I do what I do. One of their questions was, you're remarried now. Why are you still doing, what keeps you motivated to still work with widows? And I was like, a couple things. It's remembering what it was like. And it was such a lonely place. And I want to be what I wanted. I want to be what was like I needed. And then I also said, and I'm a Christian. In the Bible, it talks about widows 103 times, that we are to care for the widow. We are to care for the widows and the fatherless. And I want to do that. And so I was able to share some of that. And I think it went really well. And I'm just praying that my message continues to reach so many people. Book sales are still going well. Literally almost every day, there's at least one book sale. One day last week, there were 7. I don't know. It's just random. But the average is about 3 books a day, which it's not like big in terms of people who sell thousands or millions of copies, but it's big for me. So I love it. If you've read the book, please, please, please leave a review. I only have 36 and I've got a lot more to go. So please leave me a review. That would mean so much to me because I want to get this out to more people. What else? Oh, I'm in a transition right now in life. My 2 oldest are both moving out in the next 3 weeks, which is nuts. Hayden's 21, decided to get his own apartment. He moves out tomorrow. And so we're helping him try to find like extra furniture, all the things for him. He won't live very far away, so just like 20 minutes. So I'm happy about that. He says he's still going to come over for like pizza night and stuff once a week and do his laundry and all that. And then Haley is going back to Corbin University in 3 weeks. She'll be a sophomore and she loves it there. I'm excited for her. I'm going to help her get her dorm set up again. It's not as big of a deal as her freshman year. She already has a roommate and they've already picked out things, and we don't have like orientation like last year, but I still want to go with her and do that. So that's something that's happening personally in my life. And and here I am. I've blah blahed for 17 minutes before even getting into the topic. But it's my podcast. I can do what I want to. I was just thinking about, it's my party and I'll cry if I want to. It's my podcast and I'll talk if I want to. This is why I need to do them by myself, because I would not do this. Anyways, so what I really wanted to talk about. So I was just praying about a topic and thinking about it. And then what came to my mind, I don't remember the name of the person. If you are listening, please, I'd love to talk to you personally. But I saw someone post recently that, and I might have talked about this last week a little bit, but it's kind of come up again, that they were just waiting to die. Like, my husband died now. I'm waiting for my own funeral. I'm planning my funeral. I can't wait. And other people have been like, I want to die. Things just get worse. And first of all, please don't post. If you're a widow who's been widowed like a year or 2 years and you're posting it just gets worse, please think of others, because that is one of the most detrimental things you can do. If I see those posts, I take them down, because how does that make a brand new widow feel? And first of all, second of all, whatever of all, for me personally, first year was the hardest, hands down, nothing nearly as hard. And to my experience, no, it doesn't get worse. But even if you feel like that, please don't do it in a private message. You could private message me or something, but please don't do it publicly. And so this kind of spurred on this topic of like, why am I here? Like, my husband died. What's the point of my life? Like, why am I here? Why should we keep living? So the whole theme of my nonprofit, the motto of Widow Goals, is widows, helping widows not only survive, but thrive. Okay, so this is always my point that I think about. If I was left here, there's a purpose. I still have a purpose. You still have a purpose. I can relate, with the lady saying, I'm planning my funeral. I mean, I can't relate to that extent, but I can remember those first few months feeling like I don't want to live. It was like, I don't want to die. Like, I'm not like suicidal, but I don't want to live anymore. Like, what's the point? For me, I had my kids at home, which really helped me want to keep going. There are a lot of widows who don't have kids at home, and I don't know, they're both hard in different ways. They actually asked me this on the interview. I'm like, it's hard if you have kids at home because you got a lot to do. But it's hard if you don't have kids a lot at home because you don't have them, like, you don't have to get up for anything, for your kids. And so it's hard either way. But so I understand where she's coming from. But I like to focus on John 10:10. And I may not be saying exactly right. This is the part I have memorized. I have come to give you life and life abundantly. Okay, listen to that. Life and life abundantly. We did not become widowed to sit in our rooms and wait for our turn to die. Okay, I'm going to give a little bit of tough love right now. It's much easier when I'm just in my room by myself. I have a hard time with confrontation or tough love in person. I'm just going to say that right now. But I feel like somebody who's listening needs to know this. It's okay to have our moments of crying, our times of crying. Of course, we need to cry to heal all the stuff. But there comes a point when you have to say, okay, God, I'm here. What's my purpose? Like, what do you want me to do with my life? How can you make beauty from these ashes? And we can't just sit back and expect, poof, God's going to make beauty from ashes. Like, we've got to do our part too. We have to take initiative of our healing. Like, healing is not just an automatic thing. We have to be proactive in our healing. How can you be proactive in your healing? Well, first of all, if you're listening, that says a lot to me. You're probably proactive because you're listening to a podcast for widows. So, first step, give yourself a round of applause because you did. The second thing is, I really started pouring into books. Okay. Personally, well, obviously, I like my book, but outside of that, the Grief Recovery Handbook, I think, is hands down the best grief book. It is not a Christian book, but it has amazing, amazing principles about grief and how to get through it and different things. Like, I've taken like 52 people through that. So I believe in that book wholly. Obviously, the Bible, like, there's no comfort like the Word of God. And if you're like, oh, that seems overwhelming, I don't know where to start, just start with the Bible app. Like, just look it up, YouVersion Bible app, if you don't have it, and things pop up every day. And I was reminded of another one I just reinstalled on my phone called The First Five. That is by Proverbs 31 Ministries. And the point is that the first 5 minutes of your day should be looking at that, which I'm going to be honest, I didn't do that this morning. And I need to, because my first 5, I open my phone, I look at social media, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to try to get back in the habit. First 5, I'm looking at the Word of God. There are so many different ways. There's also an amazing book. What is it? It's not in front of me. It is a new devotional made for widows. My friend Angela Heights has 3 devotions in that book. It's called Widow's Might, 365 Days of Strength for Grief and Loss. And it's all written by widows. So that's a great resource, and it has verses in it. Of course, I'm going to say Widow Goals, Steps to Finding Peace When You Lose Your Spouse. Like, I'm not just saying that because of me. I am hearing from widows and widowers literally all over the world that it's helping them, and it has verses in every single chapter. The workbook should be done within the next couple weeks, and that has things to help you. But the point is, you've got to invest in your healing. Also, finding grief share is really good. Grief recovery is really good. Getting a grief counselor or a regular counselor. I started in grief counseling right away after Luke died. I found a grief retreat. I went to that. I went to my regular counselor. Like, I was devouring books and everything I could as if healing was my job. I'm going to say that real quick if you're listening. right now, healing is your job. Okay. That's a priority, because if you are not able to do that, you're not able to be good at anything in your life. Now, I understand you probably have other jobs. You go to your regular job, you've got your kids, whatever, but put healing as a priority, because if you don't, you're going to be in the same place 10 years later because you didn't do it. So I'm going to say invest in yourself, and then take time to figure out who you are and what you want to do. Like if you're in a job you hate, leave it. I mean, figure out what you're going to do, because I know we have to have our money to financially survive, but what's the point? Like, don't you think after our spouses die that we can see things more clearly? In one way, it's a gift. Okay. I'm going to say that it's a gift because we see how short life is. And like, I don't want to live life stuck in a job that I don't like. Now, I understand sometimes we just got to pay the bills, but I'm going to challenge you. Find something you love. If time and money were not like a factor, like you had all the time in the world, you didn't need to worry about money, what would you do? Okay, for me, it's this. It's this. I'm just going to give you a newsflash. We don't get paid for podcasting unless you're like big and you have advertisers and sponsors. I don't have all that. But my passion is pouring into widows because I know what it's like. I'm 5 years out. I'm married again. I don't have to do this, but I love it. And so I want to challenge you. It doesn't have to be podcasting to widows. Like, what brings you joy? I mean, it might be you got to think back to before your spouse died or was sick. What brings you joy? You got to take time. Like, I'm going to challenge you, take 5 minutes of silence today and try to just think about what brings you joy and figure out if you could make that into a career. Because we were made to live life and life abundantly, not life sitting in my house crying every day. And yes, if you're a brand new widow, please cry every day. But you know what I'm saying? Like there comes a point when we need to focus on the future, and the enemy is going to try to keep you secluded. Like 1,000,000%, that is a big tactic he uses. He's going to say, nobody gets it. Nobody understands. Nobody cares about you. Just sit in your house. That's the best thing to do. But I'm telling you, there are people out there who need you. They do. I guarantee you, if you're widowed, people are watching you. They are watching how you're responding to everything. And I know we all have our hard times. Like I went through real hard times those first few months after Luke died, and I was so confused who I was. What did I want to do with my life? I was a teacher, but I knew that really wasn't it. I did go back to teaching a little bit, but I was like, no, this is not my people anymore. These kids are sweet, but I want to work with widows. But figure out what it is. And also outside of your career, figure out what brings you joy, just like for fun. Like I like paddleboarding. I like line dancing. I like hanging out with friends. I love outdoorsy things, except for camping. I don't really like camping. I'm just going to be real. Well, maybe it's because I've only had bad experiences, but let me flash on back to when my kids were 1, 3, and 5, and I took them camping by myself. Maybe that's why I hate camping. But I went on a church retreat. Luke couldn't go. And so I was like, whatever, I'm super mom, taking my kids 1, 3, and 5. I can do this. And it was like at a church thing. And I was struggling to put up the tent and nobody helped me. And I felt so alone. Finally, I think it was hours later, I might have found somebody to help me. But I felt alone. I hated it. Having a 1, 3, and 5-year-old in a tent was not fun. Anyways, where am I going with this? Camping. Oh, find something you love. Maybe it's, I don't know, something totally different from me. Like maybe it's something artsy. I'm not really great at art, so that's not really my thing. But maybe that is for you. Like figure out what it is. A couple of the girls in my local widows group, shout out to Lily and Maria, are doing this like, I don't even know, this bungee thing. You get on bungee cords and you jump around and you flip, and it's like an exercise thing and they love it. I still want to try that. That sounds fun. But like figure out what it is that brings you joy and do it. If you hate your job, move. You're not a tree. You can move. I don't know. I heard that somewhere. I might be saying it wrong. But I feel like that's on my heart today, that someone out there needs to hear that if you're not happy in your job, if you're not living your life abundantly, figure out how to do that. Like we didn't go through this. It's like, okay, We were chosen. If you're not sure what that means, please go back to the episode. Know that you were chosen. We were chosen to be by our spouse's side until they died, which also means we were chosen to be widowed. So if we were chosen to be widowed, why would we waste that opportunity? Like, why would we not use that to help others and to bring glory to God? And so I just want to challenge you today to figure out what brings you joy and how you could pour into someone else. And you know what else happens when we pour into other people? We are healed more. Every time we tell our story, every time we pour into somebody, it gets our eyes off of ourselves and we're able to help people. And so that's what I want for you today. You know what? Like, I have such a passion and such a heart. Like, it brings me tears to my eyes. Like, I don't know why God has given this to me for like so intensely, but I feel such a passion for all of you that are widowed, because I just know that hopeless feeling. And I have loved watching some of my baby widows grow up and see them thrive and are doing great things and still have their moments. We all do. But that's what I love. That's what I want for you. Like, you. If you're looking at me in the camera, I'm looking at you. I want you to thrive. You, I'm pointing at you. We're made to not only survive, but thrive. And I want you to remember that. I want you to think on that. I want you to memorize that. I was made to not only survive, but thrive. I was made to not only survive, but thrive. I was made, you could even make it into a song. I was made to not only survive. Remember, I'm not the singer, Haley is. But, whatever it takes, put it, you know what? Write it, put it on your wall. Like, I want you to get that. Okay. You don't need to just wait around for your funeral. Okay. You don't need to just wait around. Like, I get really passionate. Like, you were made to thrive. Okay. Do not believe the lies of the enemy that you need to just wait around and plan your funeral. You have so much more life to live, so much more to give. God is not done with you yet. Whew, I get a little passionate when I don't know, there's certain things that get me really passionate, and talking about this stuff is something, and it's like, because God put that in my heart. I've told you guys this before, but a little over a year ago, I was going to put down the podcast, and God gave me a vision. Like, I was going to be done. I was like, I've done enough. And, someday God will release me, I believe, from this. But I had this vision of like a sea of people. And it wasn't like I was sleeping. It was like literally I was walking towards my closet and this vision of the sea of people. And I was handing megaphones to each one of them. They were telling their stories. And I'm so glad I didn't quit, because we've had so many people tell their stories. You have a story. I'm going to say this again. Like, if you have a story, please fill out the link in the show notes to become a guest. People want to hear from you. If you have already done that and I have not gotten back to you, I will. I'm a little behind on some things with the launch of my book, and I have been traveling all summer. I'm finally done with all my trips. I would love to have you as a guest. Anyways, I think I'm about ready to wrap it on up. So, just some things I'm passionate about. It's crazy because a lot of times, like, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. And God gives me what I need to say. And so I believe that if you're listening to this, you needed to hear these things today. So I'm going to go ahead and pray for you. God, I just thank you for every single person who's hearing my voice right now, like all over the world, which is amazing. And I just pray for peace. And I just pray against the lie of the enemy, against that lie that they just need to sit around and wait for their funeral. God, I just pray that you put light, something inside of them that they're passionate about, and ignite that and give them things that they can find joy in. Maybe it's just a new hobby. Maybe it's a career. I don't know. But God, I just pray that they know that they were chosen to not only have life, but life abundantly. And that they were made to not only survive, but thrive. And God, I just pray that you put that in their hearts as they go about their day today. And I pray that you put somebody in their lives to pour into them. Give them their manna for today, what they need for today to survive. And I just thank you for each person listening, and thank you for all you've done. Amen. You know what comes next. If you like this podcast, give a little bing, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. even more important than that, if you've read my book, could you please, I'll put a link in the show note. Could you please review it? Because I really need more reviews to help getting the word out. I mean, it is picking up momentum. I believe more people are seeing it, but the more reviews, the more it will pick up even more momentum. You know how it is. Like if you're going to buy something, it has 36 reviews, which is what I have currently, or that has 100. I'm going to buy the one that's 100 if they're, positive. So I would like more reviews. I know more of you have read it because I've sold way more books than that. So it would mean the world to me if you could do that. And remember the whole thing about the retreat, all the stuff, Michelle@widowgoals.org. Sometimes people email me my old one. I don't see it. So that's the one that I currently use. And also, you could also message me on Facebook. So love you all. And also, if you have a church that wants me to come speak, please send me a message about that. I would love to travel all over the world, meet you in person, and speak to you and your people. Okay, love you all. Have a wonderful day.